Welcome to Jewish Grit. This week you get to meet Cipi Rosenberg, who has overcome personal challenges, family challenges, and has grown a business of her dreams. She's learned to say no, she's learned to delegate, and she's now become a global design company. Listen this week on Jewish Grit. It is so great to have you here, Cipi. Could you please tell everybody what you do and then that new project that you're working on, because that is unbelievable. Go ahead.
I do interior design. I started out about 15 years ago and I built up a big company with about 25 employees now working under me. We do design for commercial spaces, residential spaces, healthcare, you name it, we design it. And I love it. I love it. I really, really do. The new project that you're talking about is we actually opened up an office in Israel, in Jerusalem. So it's super exciting because my heart is there and I wish I could be there. So this is my baby steps to getting there.
So I'm going to ask you a question, because with that positive aspect of wanting to achieve and keep on going, there could be a negative side to that as well, where you need to take a break. Have you ever dealt with something like that?
Yeah, so I push myself probably sometimes too hard. And I'll be the first to tell you that finding the balance is not always easy. And that is accomplishing in and of itself, being able to figure out, the perfect place to be in. I actually once heard a speech by somebody phenomenal in my industry. Her name is Stacy Garcia, and she said that having a balance it's not a scale. Like we always manage a scale and it's like, you're always like that perfect balance. But if that's the way you view it, your hands get tired. If you're always trying to be perfectly balanced, it's tiring. It's about finding a balance of when you're focusing on one thing and when you're focusing on the other. So sometimes you're focusing on your family, sometimes you're focusing on your career. And it doesn't mean like chunks of your time. It could be a day, a week, a year that you're like, now it's time to focus on this. To me, that was very inspiring to hear, because that constant thought that like at every moment you have to be perfectly balanced, it's hard to achieve. But like at any moment, I'm choosing what I'm focusing on, and that's what I'm gonna achieve and I'm gonna hone in on. I think that was like a little bit easier for me to wrap my brain around. But it's something I'm constantly struggling with. Like how to find that perfect chord of ambition, and also like take the time, breathe, enjoy the minute, enjoy the day, enjoy the moment you're living in, and not always look to what's next. All right. Well,
talking about balance and not being able to hold it both, I mean, you're a mother and you started this business 15 years ago. Your kids were little.
Yeah.
That must have been hard. And your husband, it's not like, okay, your husband just sits at home, twiddles his thumbs. I mean, we had your husband on the podcast as well, and by now people would have seen his episode. He's the president of so many companies. So like you guys are the power couple.
Sometimes I think like I microdose a little bit. It's like it's really about like the quality, not the quantity, because I don't have a lot of time in each space. So it's just about really focusing on what's the most important thing in each area of your life and delegating the things that are not like that don't have to be done by you. I would say at this point, like I'm a master delegator. And I think that's helped me, letting go of control over the things that don't really need me in it. So like even in the house and the kids, like I have help, and knowing how to take the help, how to give the help, but then knowing the things that like, this is mom. Like mom is there and I'm gonna be there with the kids and I'm doing this, and this is not something you delegate.
So you said something that I'm gonna go right to the gut of it. And I think it was very telling. You said you've learned to let people come in and help. You've learned to delegate. So obviously that's something that you worked on because of that sense of control.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Time, really time, patience, accepting in myself that it was hard, and it doesn't, just because it's hard, it doesn't mean that you stop. So just because the first time something was delegated and it wasn't done right and it bothered me and I was like, that's it, I'm just gonna do it myself, forget it. Like just realizing like, no, this is normal and we're gonna try again and we're gonna try again. And even if I got frustrated and even if like it felt sometimes like it was taking more time to learn to let go and to let people in and show people and teach people. Sometimes you're like, I could do it 3 times as fast myself and do it better. So like, why? And I think that's what gets a lot of people in the way of growing their businesses, especially because you probably can do it better. Maybe not always, but like sometimes people do come in and they're like, they bring a new aspect to the table. But even if you can do it better, you're only one person. Growing a company, you realize that there's power in numbers and scalability, and in order to get to a place where I want to get to, it can't all be me because I am only one person and I'm a mom and I'm a wife and I have friends and family that I want to be there for. So you can't do everything, and I think that's something that we all have to accept.
Can you share like a moment like that everything was like, like it just blew up in your face and you're like, oh no, and you thought you had it all planned out and then all of a sudden,
so many moments, things don't go as planned. And, I've lost projects that I've been on because things got out of control. I have a very yes attitude. So a project comes my way, and that's really how I built my whole business. It was like, yes, of course I could do that. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm going to figure it out. And I think that, sometimes, most of the time that worked to my benefit and I was able to rise to the occasion. But sometimes I wasn't because, that's the learning curve. And even when I wasn't though, I always say my biggest growths happened after my biggest falls. And it's really true because you learn so much from your failures if you allow yourself to. If you bunker down under your covers and just take that attitude of I can't believe I messed up, then it's just a mess up. But when you analyze and you think, okay, I messed up, I lost the project, I wasn't able to accomplish what I wanted to here, but what could I do better for next time? Who do I need in place in order to be able to do that next time? What systems do I need in place? And I think that that's really, we're all human. I am so human and I mess up so many times. And I mess up at work, I mess up at home. Sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot to put my, kids' school event in my calendar and, you have something important scheduled, then you mess up. We're human. It's about forgiving ourselves and figuring out how I make sure it doesn't happen again and how to make sure to do it better,
Can you give us one example of a project or something? Or maybe when you first started out the business, you were
yeah, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
So the first time I did residential only.
Okay.
And the first time one of my residential clients called me and said, I'm doing an office building now. And you did my house, you did such a great job on my house. Would you like to do the office building? And I'm like, yes, of course. Of course. And he was like, okay, you know what you're doing, right? And I'm like, of course. I did not know what I was doing. And I ended up losing that project. I remained friends with the homeowners, and they were great clients of mine. But I got in over my head, and I think that, now I have a huge commercial department, but that just lit a fire under me. I'm like, okay, this is a huge untapped resource, and I haven't even gone there yet. So let me go there. And I realized that it's a huge feeder for me because so many people that I've done their houses, they have businesses, they're in healthcare, it's a direct avenue to additional business. So why wouldn't I learn it? Why wouldn't I go there? Why wouldn't I understand what I know about residential that could translate into commercial, and what else I need to, get my grips on,
So how do you go about that? So there you were in over your head, you lost that. So what are the steps that you took in order to make sure that didn't happen again? Did you speak to somebody? Did you take a course? Was it just self-taught?
At that time, I actually hired a business coach.
Yeah. Okay.
And I said, I'm ready to grow my business. I want to have more departments. I want to be able to do more than just residential. And I need help with that. I need to understand. So I hired a business coach, and she was phenomenal. And I actually mapped out, the first exercise I did with her was she said, okay, at that point I had 3 employees. And they were all designers helping me with residential design. One was like a more admin type of position where she was doing purchasing and things like that. And she said, okay, map out like your dream org chart. Like map out like if money wasn't an object and finding the right people wasn't an object. And like I told you, like I can make it happen for you tomorrow. Just like map out for me what you want your company to look like, where you want to be, and all the people you want under you, and how it looks like to you. And I did it. And she said, okay, now we're going to start filling it in. And at the time, I remember laughing. I'm like, I had like 3 employees, and I mapped out like this big company with about 20 employees. And I was like, okay, that's not happening anytime soon. And having a visual of what I wanted was so like instrumental in me getting there. And I think it was probably about like 12 to 18 months later that I had those positions mostly filled. Once I got to that point of really understanding like, and I'm not saying that there weren't some changes along the way and everything exactly was the way I mapped it out, because as you're filling seats and as you're growing, you realize your needs change a little bit. But the key positions were filled so quickly because I had such a clear direction of what I need, what I want. I'm also a big reader of business books and inspirational books and things like that. And a lot of what they tell you is just about visualizing and, really mapping out like a 10-year goal, a 5-year plan, a 1-year plan, like really having have it down, like on paper, concrete.
Right. For you, your weakness is saying no.
Correct.
So what's that all about? And
okay, I'll tell you which book I read to help me with that one since I met you.
Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful.
So the let them theory.
Ah, yes, okay.
I'm sure you've heard of it.
Yes,
Many people
Mel
have heard of
Robbins.
it. So Mel Robbins, exactly. I love that book. It speaks to me because, I did struggle for a long time on saying no. And like I said, part of it is because like, bring it on. Like I've got this. And part of it is just like not wanting to let people down. Right. And feeling like, okay, like I'll figure it out, but like, how could I say no? And the let them theory really just opened my eyes to the idea that like, first of all, when you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So you might be saying yes to this person, but you're saying no to that person. Like,
or to
yourself, or to your kids, or to your husband. There's always, there's limited time, there's limited resources. So saying yes or giving your time, your headspace, your emotional energy to something, it's costing you on another front. So you always have to say to yourself, like, is this the front I'm willing to put my energy into? And if the answer is no, then you have to be ready to say like, okay, I'm going to do what works for me. And if they're going to be upset at me, if they're going to be frustrated, let them. Like, it's okay. It's okay. And people will be disappointed. And like going through that sequence in my head of like, okay, worst case scenario, this person gets upset at me and disappointed at me. Okay. And then what?
Wow, so what would you tell your younger self now? Now looking back, what would you tell?
Don't be so scared, I guess. Like, I think, like, it's like scary to fail. And I think that like it holds you back from growing and experiencing everything. I think like, don't take everything so seriously. Like, so many times we think that like in this moment, this thing is like going to be the be all and end all of everything. And then the moment's over and you realize it's like just such a small part of the bigger picture. And I think that that's something that when you're young and you've only lived a few, few short span of years where, everything seems so significant. It's like your birthday is a huge deal, right? Like everything is a huge deal. And I think that like we get caught up in perfecting the moment and we lose sight of the big picture. And I think that that's something you learn with age. So I don't know that if I would be able to tell my younger self, I don't know if my younger self would believe it. So
I love that.
Yeah, I don't know that my younger self would be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
like,
whatever you say,
whatever
you don't know what you're talking
exactly.
about. We talk about Jewish grit, right? Resilience. Where do you get your Jewish grit from? Is it from a family member? Is it something you learned when you were younger?
Definitely my parents. They're unstoppable. Like and they haven't always had it easy. They both lost parents at young ages, and my mom was actually sick. She had a kidney transplant when I was in high school. Wow. And a lot of my high school, like she was in and out of the hospital, and like I've never seen that defeatist attitude from her. She has such grit. Like she just always pushed through, and like her spirituality just grew from anytime anything in her life was challenging. Like I just saw her turn more and more towards God. And the same with my dad. Like it's just their spirituality is inspiring, and I think also like knowing that I'm making them proud every time they see me grow in my spirituality and have the right Jewish values. I think it helps keep that like North Star there, you know. So like sometimes it's like a little hard to like think at such a lofty level, like I'm going to do this and it's going to make God proud, and like that's enough. You know, we are people of the here and now, and God is very high. He's very lofty. So to like always frame your actions around like, okay, well, this is going to make God proud, and yeah, that's the ultimate, to be able to live with such a presence of Him in your life that's enough. But like for me, knowing that it's going to make my parents proud and like this is what they want from me, like that really is my North Star.
Thank you, Cipi. You're definitely an amazing sponge.
Oh.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Okay. Good to see you.
Thank you for listening to Jewish Grit, an Olami Mentorship podcast. At Olami Mentorship, we believe that everyone needs a mentor. What better way is there to tap into your personal and professional potential than with a Jewish mentor at your side? Learn more at olami.org/mentorship. And don't forget to keep listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.